Good evening, Kiyo.
Good evening, teacher.
Oh, how are you today? How are you today?
I'm fine, thanks.
Okay. So today, Kiyo, teacher is not feeling well. I have a headache. Okay. So now let us
Oh,
move here. Okay, for a while. Okay. So last time, oh, you still remember? Last time we study about the passive form of the verb. Okay. We study about the passive form of the verb. Okay. For a while. We study the passive form of the verb. We will now hear on the passive form. I will find, okay, I will use another. Okay. So we have here, where is this? I will share to you the okay. The passive is formed using the correct form of the auxiliary verb be and a past participle. Okay, we already learned this one. We have 4 rules for the passive form. Okay, teacher Ann already discussed about this. Okay, the passive form. Okay, oh, tomorrow we will have to do a lot of exercises. Only exercises tomorrow. Okay, a minute kayo. I need only exercises. Now let us have a short review about passive form. Okay. We will have short review about passive form, and after the short review, teacher will have okay, teacher will have to introduce another lesson for a while, Kia. Okay, I need to drink water. I need to drink medicine, Kia, because I'm not feeling good today because I teacher has a headache. Okay, now we have here. Teacher Ann will tell you about the passive form. Okay. After that, after the review, teacher will have to continue on the articles. I will discuss about articles. Okay?
I know article.
Yay! That's good if you know articles. Okay, listen. But before that, teacher will.
Article is a thing that we must do.
Wow, very good. Okay, wait a here.
We,
Okay, let's see
we
if
must have article, story, and
articles.
email.
Ah, yeah, it's the different
Story,
articles.
email.
It's an article, but it's different article. Okay, it's a different article also. We have a lot of articles. The one you have said is article in the story, email, you write article, right? It's different. Now look at
Yeah.
here. Okay, look at this one. Okay, teacher will have to show you about this. Sorry, Kiyo, that we start 8:15 already because teacher has another class. And then I have I got a headache, Kiyo. Passive voice. Okay, so we have here the passive voice. Okay. Okay, let us have here a short review. Then after, we will have to do the article. Okay, you listen, please.
Hi there,
It's
my name is
Grammarly,
Chris
sorry.
Americos, and I've been teaching English for the last 11 years.
What is the passive voice?
Okay.
When do we use the passive voice? And how can I easily change the active voice to the passive voice? I'm Arnell from Arnell's Everyday English, and today I'm going to answer these 3 questions step by step. Today's lesson plan is What is the passive
Passive
voice?
voice. Okay, lesson
The
kayo.
grammatical structure, when to use the
Passive voice.
plus an important study tip, transforming from the active to the passive. Some sentences cannot be transformed into the passive. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So, there's going to be
This
a
is a review
lot of
already, just
information in this
listen.
lesson. Get ready to
Okay.
take notes.
Notes.
Let's begin. What is the passive voice?
Okay, passive
The passive
voice.
voice is the opposite of the active voice. Active. Everybody loves chocolate. Passive. Chocolate
Chocolate is loved
is loved
by
by
everybody.
everybody. Active. The lifeguard saved a man. Passive. A man was saved by the lifeguard. Active. Decorators are painting my house. Passive. My house is being
Painted.
Okay, here are 3 examples of the passive. Now, let's look at this grammar in more detail. Step 2, the grammatical structure. When you form the passive, you need be plus a past participle. Here are the forms of be. There's a lot. Am, are, is in the present. Was, were in the past. You can use been with perfect tenses and being in continuous tenses. You need a form of this plus that past participle, which is verb number 3. Eat, ate, eaten. Eaten is my past participle. Play, played, played. Played.
Okay, Keo, don't forget that when we mentioned about passive voice, there is always past participle. What is this past participle, Teacher Anne? This past participle, Keo, also called as verb number 3. Look at this one. Okay, I will tell you. Here. Sorry, this one. It, verb number 1. Okay, verb number 1. Sorry. Verb number 1. Next, verb number 2, ate. Verb number 3, eaten. Okay, can you see that? Okay, eat, ate, eaten. Okay, eaten. Okay, the eat is the verb. Ate, past tense. Eaten, past participle tense. Okay, the verb number 3 is also called as past participle. So don't forget that in passive voice, the pattern, Keo, is be verb. You know the be verb already. Are, is, was. These are the be verb. The one here. The one listed here are be verbs. So these are the be verbs plus the past participle. That is the pattern in the passive voice. When you can see that one, that is what we mean with passive voice. Do you understand, Keo? Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Next. Okay, continue.
Is my past participle. The 3 sentences from earlier, they all have be and that past participle. So let's compare 2 sentences. This bottle of ketchup has already been opened. I have been tired for weeks. Which sentence is passive? Right. The first one. Why? Because I have the be and the past participle. In the second sentence, I have be, which is great, but I don't have a past participle. Tired is an adjective. So that sentence isn't a passive. So always remember the passive has
Be plus past
be and
participle.
past participle.
That is the pattern here. Don't forget what one in the
Step
passive voice.
number 3.
Okay, look at your
Why
lesson.
do we use the passive?
Why do we use the passive voice?
1. When the action is more important or interesting than the person who does the action. 1 million pounds were donated to the children's hospital. Wow, 1 million pounds. That's a lot of money. This is very interesting. Who donated the money?
Not important.
It's not important.
Yes.
I'm interested in the information here.
It's the 1 million who donated the money. The one who donated, not important.
Donated 1 million pounds to the children's hospital. Here, wow, it's the Prime Minister. In the active sentence, it's really important who does the action.
Okay.
But in the
passive, it's not important.
That's not important. Number 2, the person who does the action is not known or
not important.
This beautiful bridge
was built in 1732. Okay, that's passive.
Who built the bridge? It's not important or I don't know. Active. John Taylor Thomas
built this bridge
in 1732.
Okay, that's active.
Imagine John Taylor Thomas is a famous architect. Then that information's important.
Yes, that's
passive,
important.
Not important. And the active, important. Number 3, the person doing the action is obvious. Bill was arrested last night. Who arrested Bill? It's obvious. The police arrested Bill. Only the police can arrest someone. Active? The police arrested Bill last night. You could definitely say that. It's just different emphasis. Number 4, the object cannot do the action itself. 100 chocolate cakes were sold on Sunday. Can a cake sell itself? Of course not. It needs to be the passive. If you want to say who does the action, you can use an agent. We form the agent using by plus person. The agent is optional.
Not necessary.
1 million pounds were donated to the children's hospital by the Prime Minister. By the Prime Minister is optional information. This beautiful bridge was built in 1732.
It's not the one who said, okay,
by John Taylor Thomas.
Okay, here Kyo. These $1 million pounds were donated to the children's hospital. This is passive. It's not important who donated. But when you say the Prime Minister donated 1 million pounds for the children's hospital, it becomes active because of the Prime Minister. Here, this beautiful bridge was built in 1732. In this case, this is passive. The one who built is not important. What is the important information is the beautiful bridge, not the one who built it. But when I say the famous architect John Taylor Thomas built the beautiful bridge, Okay, so this one, it becomes active because we know who built the bridge. It's John Taylor Thomas. Okay, so there is already a person by using the word by. by the Prime Minister, by John Taylor Thomas. Okay, you understand, Kiyo? Do you understand? Okay, now let's move here.
Thomas? That's optional information. 100 chocolate cakes were sold on Sunday by Jones's Bakery. Again, optional information.
Okay.
Important study tip. In a newspaper, I want you to highlight any form of the passive you see. I want you to ask yourself, why is the passive being used? Is it reason 1, 2, 3, or 4? You can also do this when you're watching a film. Use the subtitles to help you. Once you understand why the passive is being used, you can start using it confidently.
Yes.
Number 4, transforming an active sentence to a passive sentence. Active? Apple sells thousands of iPhones every day.
Yeah, look at that one.
How can I change this to the passive? Remember, you need be plus past participle. Thousands of iPhones are sold every day. Do I want the agent? Buy Apple? Buy Apple is reason number 3. It's obvious. Only Apple sells iPhones. Apple sells thousands of iPhones every day. Thousands of iPhones are sold every day by Apple. Each tense has its own passive structure. You need a list. Here, I have a list of the tenses, and you can see that be and the past participle.
But
The tenses in red, present perfect continuous, past perfect continuous, do not have a natural passive form. Don't try to form the passive using the red tenses.
okay, it's very complicated,
Now,
Kiyo. If you
I
want to,
don't want you to think, oh, there are so many structures for me to memorize. Step 1, you recognize the passive.
recognize
Step 2,
passive,
you
understand the passive,
and step 3,
use the
you
passive.
use the passive.
That's all.
Whichever step you're
Always
on,
remember there is
is
be,
fine.
verb plus past participle. That is passive, Kiyo.
Ooh, how are you feeling? I hope you're feeling like this and not like this. I have one more important piece of information to tell you about the passive. Intransitive verbs cannot be made into the passive. What is an intransitive verb?
Okay, lesson Kiyo. What
An
is intransitive verb?
verb does not have an object. I bought a coffee. Buy is a transitive verb. It needs an object. In this case, coffee.
Is the object.
I
Arrive
arrived
late. This is intransitive
Here,
verb.
arrive is an intransitive verb. It doesn't need an object. I arrived
Late.
is fine. There's no object needed. It's intransitive. So, sentence number 1, if I want to make it the passive, a coffee was bought. Perfect. Sentence number 2 is not possible. Intransitive verbs, no passive.
Okay.
Fantastic. Well done.
Okay, Kiyo. So when we are going to discuss about intransitive, so When you say here, look at this. I would like to review about this. I bought a coffee. Always remember that intransitive verb always answer the question what. Here, number one is I bought a coffee. Okay, bought here is transitive because it needs object. Okay, it answer what? Both is transitive. It answer what? Okay, it answer what? What did you bought? You bought a coffee. Again, what did you bought? You bought a coffee. That is intransitive verb. Okay. Next. Sorry. That is transitive verb. It needs an object. But here, this is intransitive verb. It doesn't need object. I arrive late. That's it. No object. But that is the reason, Ko, that this intransitive verb cannot made we cannot make it into passive voice. In here, you can say that a coffee was bought. Okay, you can make transitive into passive. Again, transitive verb, I bought a coffee, you can make it into passive. Like you will say, a coffee was bought. Was is be verb, both is past participle. You can make it. But this one, intransitive, no. So therefore, intransitive cannot make it into passive. No, no, no. Okay, Kyo? Now let's move, Kyo, to article. What are the articles? I would like to
Arnold,
introduce articles only. 3 only. Wait for a while. Okay. Okay, we have here. Okay, we have
You
here.
asked for this. I heard you. Today we're going to talk about the difference between a, and the. Ano ang pagkakaiba ng articles na yon? That's what we're going to talk about today.
Okay, sorry, Kyo. It's Tagalog. Okay, this we will use this one here because it's article.
Hello, I'm Emma from English, and in this lesson, we're working on your English grammar, specifically on how to use articles. Now, I know this is a lesson that you need to watch. There are 3 English articles: a, an, and the.
Okay.
It is possible to have no article, and using one or the other changes the meaning of your English sentences. But more on that later. Articles are a challenging part of speaking English, but they're a really important part. They give information about the noun that they come before. Using articles incorrectly can make your sentences confusing or sound strange. And mistakes with articles are quite obvious to native speakers. They probably won't correct you, but they'll notice them. Even though you'll probably be understood if you make mistakes with articles, Using the incorrect article is one of the most common errors that English learners make. If you've ever emailed me or messaged me on Facebook, I've probably seen it in your writing too. These mistakes happen all the time without you even realizing it. But there's a reason why these kind of mistakes are so common. There are lots of different rules about how to use articles and lots of exceptions too. So to make articles a little easier for you, I've broken this lesson down into 3 main rules that you need to know about using English articles. Now, I'm not going to teach you every rule about English articles. I don't want to scare you away so much that you never come back. I'm going to teach you some principles that will help you to use articles better. Remember that articles are used with English nouns. So nouns play an important part in your decision to use an article. The type of noun is important. There are 2 types of articles in English, definite and indefinite. And it's probably easier for me to show you how they work. This table will help to make it a little clearer. Thinking about English nouns, we know that there are countable and uncountable nouns. Countable nouns can be singular or plural, so there's a lot to think about, and it really affects how you use articles. If a noun is singular and countable, then you can use the indefinite article or
yes.
an. The definite article, the, can be used with countable or uncountable nouns. When a noun is plural, so when there is more than one of that noun, the definite article, the, can be used. And though we can't use the indefinite singular articles, and an, we can use some when we're not being specific. Now, this technically is not an article, but if you're using a plural noun and you're not being specific, some is the perfect choice. So for the singular countable noun, strawberry, I can say a strawberry. I can say the strawberry when I'm being specific. If I'm using the plural form of that noun, strawberries, then I can use some if I'm not being specific. I would like some strawberries, please. Or I can use the definite article, with my plural noun. Could you pass me the strawberries? The difference between the definite and the indefinite articles is the difference between talking about a specific pen, a unique pen, or any pen at all. It doesn't matter. Like I said, we're going to focus on 3 main rules today. Learn these rules and you will choose the correct article most of the time. The first rule explains when we use the definite article, and when we use a or an, the indefinite articles.
Okay.
The second rule deals with
Okay,
unique...
Kyo. Okay, first, Kyo, is we have to identify a and an as indefinite article. Da is definite article. Okay, let's move.
nouns, which usually require the definite article. And the third rule explains why we sometimes leave articles
out.
If you do need an article, when should you use an indefinite article? And when should you use
The definite article.
Great question. Let's talk about rule number 1. Indefinite articles, a and an, are used when you first introduce someone to a noun. It doesn't matter if you're speaking or writing, when you first introduce a countable noun, you need to use a or an. Then you can use the definite article after you have introduced the noun. I want to demonstrate this for you with a very simple story. I saw a person yesterday. The person was sitting under a tree. The tree was very tall.
Okay, look at that one.
The person stood
Stood
up
up
when
when
they
they
saw
saw
a
a cat.
The cat jumped on a wall to try and catch a bird, but
But
the bird flew off the wall. In this example, the nouns person, tree, wall, cat, and bird all take the indefinite article, but only when they're first introduced. After that, we use the definite article every time. This rule is about ensuring that the reader or the listener knows which specific noun you're talking about. As soon as you've made this clear to the person, you can use the definite article every time you use it.
Do you believe somebody could be trained potentially to sense information, not by reading a book, but by touching it?
Now we know which bird, of all of the possible birds in the world that it could be, we know which specific bird
We
we're
are talking
about.
about.
So we can use the definite article. The second rule, when a noun is unique, use the definite article. When something is unique, there is only one of that thing. That's when we use the definite article. The definite article is the. The sun, the president, the Queen of England, and the capital city are all examples of this. There is only one of these nouns. They're unique. This is especially true for nouns that are well known by most people, but it's even true when the listener might not know the noun. Who's he? He's the President of the United States. He's the CEO. He's the mayor. Compare it to, who's she? She's a member of Parliament. She's an accountant. She's an engineer. There is more than one of these nouns. So that noun is not unique. Now, I'm going to keep giving some more examples for rule number 2. And remember, for rule 2, we're thinking about nouns that are unique. There's only one of these nouns. But this uniqueness, it doesn't need to be really obvious. It can come through the context. So for example, a truck crashed into a tree. The driver was not injured. Once we introduce the car, we know by association that there could only be one driver.
Yes.
Because there was only one car or one truck mentioned. So the driver is unique in the story. There's only one driver that we could possibly be.
Okay, Kyo. In this case, they are talking here, Kyo, about indefinite article a and the definite article da. What makes it definite? First, because it is said, because it is unique. Example here, the driver was not injured. What makes driver unique? Because there is only one driver and there is only one truck we are talking here. The driver was not injured. A truck crashed into a tree. The driver was not injured. By using the definite article da, remember, da is the definite. By using the definite article da, it becomes unique. Okay? It becomes unique. The driver was not injured. So da becomes unique. Da becomes unique because of the article. The driver becomes unique because of the article da. Okay, lesson.
Talking about. Keep thinking about this idea of a unique noun as we continue. When you're using superlative adjectives, the best place, the worst thing, the fastest runner, the tallest mountain, the most interesting person I've met. You need to use the definite article because there can only be one person, place, or thing that can be the fastest or the most expensive. Paul is taller than Steve and Greg, but Tom is taller than Paul, and Adam is the tallest. There are many boys who are taller than Greg, but only one person can be the tallest. Adam.
Okay, can you see that? Okay, look at this one. Okay, look at here. Okay,
Also, use the definite articles who are taller than Greg.
Okay, look at this. So there are many children here, but the one being identified as tallest is Adam. So it is the tallest. Okay, Steve, Greg, Paul, Tom, Adam. Adam is the tallest. The tallest. Okay? Do you understand? It's the tallest. Okay, very good.
But only one person can be the tallest. That's Adam. Also, use the definite article for named things. By naming them, they become unique. So, for example, the Himalayas,
The Amazon,
the Amazon River,
the Indian Ocean,
the Indian Ocean,
the United
Nations,
Nations,
the Eiffel Tower, the 806 bus. All of these nouns are unique, but there are some exceptions, like the names of people.
Oh.
We don't use an article. The names of lakes and islands don't usually use articles. PP Island or Lake Victoria, except when these nouns are plural, like the Great Lakes or the Galapagos Islands. These exceptions are what
Okay, Keo. So you cannot use article with the word or with the name of the person. Like I will say, an Keo, an. No, we cannot use that one. We cannot even use definite article with the lakes, except if it is plural like this. If you think it's plural, the Great Lakes, the Galapagos Islands, it's plural. It is what we call it is, Keo. You can use article if it is plural. But if it is not plural, we cannot use article. Like I will say Keo, the Keo, no. Name of person, we cannot use article. Okay? Remember that.
Articles very frustrating in English, but don't give up. When you're ordering things, so when ordinal numbers like second,
fifth
are used as
adjectives.
For example, the second time, or the third example, or the fourth person to call. So in other words, once you place an order on an object, they hold a unique position in that order. And so you can use the definite article. Okay, lastly, why do we use an article with a noun sometimes and at other times we don't use an article at all? This is the third rule. When we're speaking about a noun in general, we're not being specific about which particular noun, we usually leave the article out. And if it's countable, you need to use the plural form. Let's use a countable noun, this pen, as an example. When we're talking about an actual pen or pens that really exist, we use an article, definite or indefinite. In the following examples, we're speaking of specific or actual or real pens that exist. Can I borrow the pen?
Can I borrow the pen?
A specific pen.
The pen.
The pen that's on your desk. Singular and specific. The pens are in your bags. That's
Bag.
a plural noun, right? And with the definite article. But we can also make general statements about pens. And when we do, we speak generally, this is when we can leave the article out. For example, I prefer to use black pens. I never have pens when I need them. I bought pens for you to use. It is absolutely possible to use an article or leave it out, but the meaning will be different in each case. I really like eating cake. This is a general statement about cake. Could be any cake. But compare it to
I really like the cake you made. Okay.
It's a statement about a specific cake, a cake that I've actually eaten. When speaking generally about a countable noun, you need to use the plural form. So, for example, I'm allergic to strawberries. So, strawberries in general. Australians like to eat eggs for breakfast. Just eggs in general, not specific eggs. If you're talking about something that is uncountable,
like information you
information
cannot count.
or knowledge or equipment, then just use the noun in its original form, because obviously it doesn't have a plural form. So, for example, the information is available at the counter. And that's specific information, something that we've already been talking about. Information is available at the counter is a very general statement, general information. Okay, I know that that was a big lesson and a lot to take in. You should probably watch it again to really let all of the information sink in. I've made a cheat sheet and a worksheet that's going to help you to practice using what you learned in this lesson. You can download it right here. But before you do go there, let's just go over those 3 important rules again, just to make sure you remember them. The first rule explains when we use the and when we use a and an, the definite and the indefinite articles.
Yes.
Remember the story about the person and the cat and the bird?
When you're introducing something
that is probably unknown to the listener or the reader, you need to use a and an or an. Then any time after that, you can use the. The second rule deals with unique nouns,
the
which
article,
usually
the
use
definite
the
article,
definite
the.
article. Now, I gave you lots of different examples about how nouns can be unique. And we also talked about how the should usually be used with ordinal numbers when they're adjectives. The third rule explains why we sometimes leave articles out. That's when we're talking generally about something. Now, remember that these 3 rules are great, but they're general rules. They work most of the time. Unfortunately, there will always be some exceptions with articles, but don't lose hope. These 3 rules are going to help you make better choices about using English articles so that you can really improve your English grammar. Don't forget to download the worksheet up here.
Okay. So, Keo, those are the article we have here. Okay. Teacher will just give up a wrap-up discussion. So, we have here the same as what it is said in the video. We use indefinite article. Remember, indefinite article is a and an. Okay. These 2, a and an, is considered as indefinite article. Okay. Just as I told, when we mention a singular countable noun for the first time, when you say countable noun, nouns that can we count, can be counted. Okay, so just as I turned the corner, I saw a car. Okay, we use a here because car is countable noun. We can count it. Okay? She has been working as a doctor. A doctor. A is countable noun again because doctor can be counted. Okay? Another here is the indefinite article. What is the indefinite article? Indefinite article is, what is that? It is the. The definite article is when we have already mentioned something or when it is common knowledge. It's unique. At the zoo, we saw the lions, the tigers, and elephants. So the tigers were my favorite. The here, they have been mentioned previously. This is another rules. If we use the definite article the, it means we already mentioned it. Like at the zoo, we saw lions, tigers, and elephants. That tigers, so it means we only repeat. We have to be very specific which animal is your favorite. My favorite animal, teacher Ann, is the tigers. So there are 3 animals mentioned here. We have lions, tigers, and elephants. But you need, or you specified, or you mentioned the specific, which is the tigers. You mentioned the specific about the tigers. Okay? Here. Now, we have here, okay, this is definite. Again, definite, it is the definite, it is the. Indefinite is a or an. Okay, kayo? Listen kayo, a or an. Okay, you understand kayo? You
Yes,
understand?
teacher.
Okay, very good. So this is now we study about article. Okay, so tomorrow teacher will give you exercises, only exercises. I will give you exercises in the Google and you have to answer that. Okay, kayo? Okay, you understand,
Okay.
teacher? Okay, very good. Okay, so this we will only have a short time for now because teacher has another class. Okay? Okay, kayo?
Okay.
Okay, so for
Okay,
now,
teacher.
teacher, do you have, by the way, do you have question?
No,
Okay,
I
very
don't have
good.
any question.
Very good. You understand a and an as indefinite article. Da is the definite article. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So for now, teacher Ann will say goodbye. Okay?
Okay, goodbye, teacher.
Bye-bye, Kiyo.